everybody, in today's video I'm going to give you a little quick experiment or exercise that you can do when you're watching a movie to learn more about editing and filmmaking and actors' performances in film. So join me in a second. Hey there everybody, my name is Doug Fahl. This is Augmented Actor, where I help actors like you augment your acting career with tips, tactics, and tech. I have this little exercise that I have done all my life when I watch movies, especially if I've seen the show once before. The first time, you want to just enjoy the movie and the narrative, because that's the intention of the director and the editor of a project, is to make you not think about the mechanics of movie making. You don't want to think about the actor, you want to think about the character, and you want to get involved in the story and kind of lose all this stuff. But this exercise does the opposite. It makes you aware of all the little details that go into making a film. So the exercise goes like this. Anytime you're watching a movie or TV show, anytime there is an edit or a cut between one take and another, just say to yourself, cut. If there's a crossfade, you can say crossfade, or you can also say edit. So you'll start to notice things like this. You'll notice that there are a multitude of different camera angles for every little scene. There's different camera distances and shot setups. So each of those is a completely different camera setup that takes, an hour or more to set up, and the actor is saying their lines for that specific portion of that specific shot, and they will do several takes to get it right, and give some options as well. And then an editor and director will take those little chunks and put them together to create a seamless flow that serves the narrative of the film. But by noticing the edit points, you'll notice how much work goes into each scene and how much time it must have taken to shoot these things. You'll also notice that what we attribute to an actor's performance in a film is actually the contributions of a lot of different people. We say a person gave a really brilliant performance, or we say that the person had really bad acting. Well, we can't fully blame or praise the actor alone for their performances, because so much of that is dependent on how the film is edited, which moments are selected, how those moments were actually shot and captured in the first place, which is all on the director, and even the casting person who cast these people in the first place. That's part of their responsibility, but that's a digression. So we notice that an actor's performance is really the choices of a director, the choices of an editor, the competency of a sound recorder and designer and a lighting person, and all those kind of things contribute. Even a color corrector can add to the mood of an actor's performance. And also, by doing this exercise, you start to notice certain things like long takes. Some films are famous for their 5 to 10 to 15 minute long takes, which means that the camera doesn't cut at all. It's one long take, and those are elaborate scenes sometimes, and they are really difficult to set up and shoot. And sometimes we don't even notice that that's happening in a film until long into the shot, and then you realize, oh, that was all one camera take. Well, if you're paying attention to the edit points, you'll notice right away that, wow, it's been a long time since they've cut. By watching the edits, you can notice certain things, like when a stunt person works with an actor in a scene, and you'll see the actor's face, and then there will be a cut, and then you'll see the stunt happen from behind, and then you'll cut back to the actor's face, and you'll start to realize how these special effects and stunts are actually orchestrated, and how the actor is not actually involved in certain sections of a scene. And that can give you another insight into what's going on behind the scenes for that film. Now, once you've done that exercise, you can also take it a step further. I recently did a video about camera framing, camera shots, different styles, like different levels of close-up and long shots, and different camera angles, like a high angle and a bird's eye view, and other things like that. If you want to see that video, it's listed on your screen or down in the description below. And I also have an upcoming video about camera movements, how cameras move from one shot to another. So this wouldn't be an edit point, but it would be like a pan pan or a tilt or a zoom. Instead of saying cut when you watch these films, you would just name the framing of the shot or name the movement of the camera as it's happening. And this way you get really adept at distinguishing between the different shots and the movements, and you know what they're called, and you realize how they affect the tone of the scene as well. And you start to realize why a director chose a low angle shot or an extreme close-up for this very moment. And you also start to see how an actor gives a different performance for each of those different angles. And you can go even further with this exercise. If you're interested in like music, or scoring, or sound design, you can study those elements and pay attention to what all the little sounds are in the background. If you don't know this already, when you're doing a film, an actor's voice is recorded with a boom mic or a body mic, but that's all that's recorded. Most of the ambient noise, including crowds or dance music in a nightclub scene, or even things like opening doors, breathing, footsteps, all those things are added in later. In fact, there is a whole group of actors called loopers that their sole job is to record these off-screen voices or crowd scenes or chanting scenes, at a protest or whatever. All those things are added in and recorded later, and that's a whole career path of its own. If you're a sound designer, you're going to listen for all those little creaks and breaths and realize that those have all been painstakingly either recorded or sourced from sound effects libraries and added into the film and balanced with the music and all that stuff. It's just amazing when you start to pay attention to that. You can also look at color correction and notice when the popular teal orange LUT is being used on a film, or you can study cinematography and aspect ratios and pay attention to those and where a character is placed on the screen. So whatever your interest in film is, you can study all that just by watching a film and making a conscious effort to pay attention to those elements and not get caught up in the story. Now, I've been doing this exercise all my life, kind of subconsciously, especially if I get kind of bored with a film. I will start to pay attention to why I'm being pulled out of the film, what's jarring about an edit or an actor's performance in a certain take, or the lighting or the sound. It's something that's pulling me out of it and making me think about it. I can start to study what not to do in a film as well. And for you, if you're an actor or performer, doing this is going to help you start to think of your performance from an editor's standpoint of view. You're going to learn how to adjust your performance based on the setup. You're going to learn that your performance is an amalgamation of a bunch of different takes over a long period of time, and that you have very little control over how you are presented on the screen. The only control you have is what you're giving for each particular moment as a performance. It's up to somebody else to decide what they want to use from that. So whenever you see somebody won an Academy Award for Best Performance, just realize that you got to thank a lot of other people for that award, for that performance than just that actor. So I'm curious to know if you try this exercise or have tried it in the past, what information you've gleaned from it and what your experience is. Let me know in the comments below. I want to thank my Patreon patrons for their support, and I want to thank all the people in my Augmented Actor Facebook group. If you're not a member of either of those, I invite you to join. It'll be fun for you. There's some other videos on your screen right now that you might be interested in, and I will hope to see you again here soon. So have a good day.